Welcome to the Timescales interviews. I'm Grego, your host, and today I have a very special guest. This right here is none other than Pops Van Zant from the Madness Comic Network. How's it going, Pops?
It's as I like to say, it's all action. There's no stop with what we do. You know, there's no slow gear. We're running all day, man, and trying to make it so that we run more.
I've seen that, and that's one of the things that got me really curious about what you're doing. I have seen you on YouTube. I started watching more and more YouTube videos and interviews and shows during the evening. I probably watch more YouTube than normal TV now. And
Way more.
right. And I saw you on some shows, and then I started finding other shows. I think the Google algorithm was suggesting it, like you might like this. And I was like, wait a second, that's the same guy right there.
Same channel.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm going to leave this open-ended. Tell us about yourself. Who is Pops Van Zant? And then we'll get to the technical stuff and the channels. Tell us about yourself a little bit. You have any hobbies? Skydiving, stamp collecting, anything people don't know?
Well, I mean, everybody knows I collect comic books,
Hmm.
obviously. Okay, I mean, I've been a collector of everything, sports, memorabilia. I've gone through all the different phases, right? I collected baseball cards back when they first started doing the grading.
Hmm.
And in baseball cards, I got it. Okay, the pitcher's centered. It's not off center. That makes it better, right? The borders are the same on both sides. So that's a 10, right? Nobody's touched it. There's no fingerprints on it. It's a gem mint 10. I get that. Okay. When they started doing it with comic books, I had a little bit of an issue because comic books have covers. You don't have no idea what's inside those covers. It's wrapped in plastic. So I was a little bit leery of it all the way back, but that's a different issue. Uh, I'm a collector. I'm a collector of all kinds of stuff, right? I've had huge collections and lost them and started new collections. And, I mean, I think I'm working on my fifth collection of my life right now. So I also love to play golf. And I
Okay.
like, I mean, I'm one of them people that like sports. Okay. I'm one of them all around nerds. I like everything for all the things we love. That's the catchphrase of our network. For all the things we love. I don't, if it brings you enjoyment, roll with it, because
There you
that's
go.
about the only thing we got that you know. This life ain't very long, and if you didn't have fun, you did it wrong.
No doubt.
you
No
know,
doubt.
you've got to try and have as much fun as you can. So, you know, um, but I'm just like a regular old comic nerd,
Okay.
big time fan of comics and comic creators and whatnot. You know, uh, there's not a lot to the story. I mean,
Okay. Okay. Do
have
you
you
rem
ever?
you remember when they started slabbing cards?
Yes,
They
yes,
something about that felt wrong to me.
yes,
What do you
indeed.
think about? Yeah, it is
That's what
wrong,
I'm
right?
saying.
Yeah.
Like with cards, I was okay with it because, like I said, if the picture's all off center and funky in the card, it shouldn't be worth the same as one with the picture centered perfectly. And you know what I mean?
Right.
If the
Right.
corners are all rounded off, it shouldn't be worth as much as one where the corners are sharp. I got that.
Right.
And it's like you said, it's the same with comic books, except you can't see what's in the interior after they wrap it in plastic. How do
Yep.
you know it's not a bunch of blank pages in there?
Right.
How do you
Okay.
know without breaking it open? Now you just wasted the $80 or whatever you spent to slab damn thing, right? Um,
Yeah.
we've seen instances of this kind of stuff where people crack them open and find out it's, and that's the other thing. How do you know that's the book you sent them unless you mark it in some way which would detract from the value?
Right.
How do you
Right.
even know that the book that they slabbed and sent back to you is the one you sent down?
So you're an anti-slabber.
Oh, big time. And that's like that's a lot on the honor system. I'm gonna take
Right.
all my most valuable books and I'm gonna put them in the mail and
Mhm.
send them to somebody who may or may not actually wrap those books in plastic and send them back.
Only to have the
Now,
postal service fold it in half. You you know a good solution to that? To prevent them from folding it in half, get a sticker that says glass and put that on the package. And then yeah, see if they want to try to fold it in half then. So um do you happen to remember something called a spinner rack, perhaps when you were young?
dude, that's the first comics I bought were on spinners racks.
Right, right.
Matter of fact, I have a friend in the UK right now that's buying one, and he had to buy one here and have it shipped.
Oh man.
Yeah, that ain't gonna be cheap,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
remember we had the spinner racks. They were at the front of the grocery store.
Yep.
There actually used to
Yeah,
be a comic book section. There was comic books, there was magazines, and then there were also comic books by the register at
yeah,
kid eye level. And back then, originally the comics were not bagged. So when mom was off shopping, we would sit there and read the comics either from the spinner or the actual comic book section of the grocery store. And then they started bagging them. And some of the time there would be an additional thing inside there, like a
like a
little a
trading card or
figurine,
something. Yeah,
trading card. Yeah. So do you remember that transition?
I have bags, poly bags of. I have
Right.
some of those comics that they bagged up, still bag.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like that was part of what was happening. It was funny because the ones that they did bag up and act like they were all precious ain't worth shit. None of them. None of them. You know, nothing that came bagged. Well, wait, I
Right.
take that back. The Power Rangers black bag mystery bagged ones. Some of those were pretty solid on the value, but not none of the others, you know, the stuff, the X Force ones, the X Men ones that came in the poly bags, none of them worth anything. They
Y-
printed up so many of them.
You know, I totally forgot about those mystery bagged ones. Is that still happening?
Oh, I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah.
I'm so it's like now my focus is all on independent creators. I
Okay.
pay very little attention to the big two or big four, really. I mean, I kind of don't care what they're doing because they're not letting the creators create. They're dictating
Right.
to the creators what they want the next whatever to be. And it's like, I'm trying to get enjoyment out of this medium. And how can I get enjoyment out of it if somebody's telling the creators what to do?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, myself, I have actually found it to be more interesting personally to me is the networking of people that are creators aside from the big two or the big four. And I think that I actually enjoy that more than some of the comics themselves. It's very interesting, and that's one of the reasons that I ran across the Madness Comic Network, and apparently you are the brain behind that. For somebody that does not know what the Madness Comic Network is, could you describe it in a nutshell?
Madness Comic Network started out. I mean, it's a place to bring everybody. I'm trying to bring everybody in a place where everybody can go to one place and find you.
Hmm.
Okay. If you're a comic book creator, if you're a writer, an artist, or an editor, or a letterer, or whatever, I'm trying to build this one place where anybody can find you. You know, it's like you can network with other like-minded people. You can find people to work with, to work for, to have work for you. You find all the other podcasts that aren't part of our network. We encourage them to promote in our group, and it's for every. You know, we're trying to build something big enough that everybody gets it, and everybody can get something out of it. Okay, so it started out as a Facebook group and it was
Okay.
a hey look what I got today Facebook group. It wasn't even any type of anything other than we just showed off comics.
Hmm.
Okay, um, I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan. Okay,
All right.
um, Emerald City went down in 2020.
What was that? Emerald City?
Emerald City, the Comic Con in 2020 when they
Okay. Mhm.
They canceled it.
Mhm.
Everybody I knew in my group, all my friends who table Comic Cons all summer long for to help their income, suddenly had no income. They weren't getting the money back for the tables that they had paid for. They, you know what I mean? It was like it was hell on all my friends.
Mhm.
So I just turned my little Facebook group into we started doing what we call CromCon. Crom is our little mascot of the group, and CromCon was a full weekend once a month where we would bring out creators, give them a half hour each, one after another, after another, after another, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and do a big panel at the end of the night with certain people like Brian Polito and people like that, headlined panels for us. But we did this for 39 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so the con was shut down because of COVID being in 2020?
Oh, yeah, all the
Yeah,
cons were
okay.
shut down.
Right.
Okay.
Everything's
So
shut down.
we tried to fill the gap by giving people a place to come out online and still show what they were selling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Still try to get people to buy their stuff because they couldn't table at a con. They couldn't table at any cons. The cons were done. They were shut down, right? The whole summer. So we did the CromCon thing and Monday Madness and shows we just started making more shows. Monday Madness come into being because of the people who would get a hold of me late, too late to book themselves a spot on CromCon, right? So don't worry about it. I'll do a Monday show for you guys that missed a spot. We'll do a Monday show for you, and that's how Monday Madness came into being. And we've been doing that show for 4 years now. Okay, but
Wow.
we got to a point where it was like, okay, CromCon isn't really needed anymore. The cons are back. People are going back to the cons. They're setting up their tables. They're selling their books. So I kind of changed the direction of the group, of the network. And I was like, we're looking at things like Roku and all these other big streaming services. And it's like, why can't we get our shows on a channel on Roku? Well, we can. We just have to
Mm-hmm.
do it, right? Somebody has to decide to do it. Well, it's not just something you go do. You run a little beta test. So I started a YouTube channel I started the YouTube channel for the CromCon, but it's like I took the YouTube channel and I'm like, all right, I'm going to see how many people I can get to bring a show to the network, run it consistently, like a weekly show, be there every week, do a show.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get enough people to show that they're down with what we're doing and they're consistently contributing content, I will build this thing and we will go to Roku. But I
Okay.
needed that. Will it work? Can we get the right people behind it? Can we get the right people to make it happen? Right.
Okay.
So that's
Very
kind of where
interesting.
we are.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
where we are right
Y-
now.
You must be reading my mind because I was going to ask you about the Roku thing, and I want to get back to that here in just a second. Um, you've touched on the spark that the Madness Comic Network started basically because of COVID lockdowns of cons, and you mentioned Roku, which I think is very interesting because I until you and I talked last, when we talked before doing the interview, back when we were setting this up, which by
Yeah.
the way, I looked last night and we emailed each other back and forth 59 times before before finally doing this. So I'm so happy to be able to do it. But with Roku, I didn't know that you could actually get your own show on there. But before we get to Roku, tell me what Madness Comic Network is now. We know the spark. We know why it started. We know how it started on Facebook. We know that you need to test, but
Yeah.
what exactly is Madness Comic Network now for someone that doesn't know? And I can give my insight. You said to do a weekly show, okay? Now that takes dedication. I do
Mhm.
know that. I do good to be able to do one interview per month to have time to do it, okay? And I couldn't imagine doing a weekly show, much less live. So hats off to you, my friend, for that. That is dedication. However, you're way beyond that
Yeah,
because at some point, I thought, what man, what is this guy trying to do? Is he trying to stream on YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? My God, because there's so many shows. So, in your own words, that's the way I see it. That's what really got my attention. And in your own words, what would you tell people that Madness Comic Network is now, and where can you be found? I watch you on YouTube.
right. The Madness Comic Network now is the place to go for all your nerdly needs. Okay, it doesn't matter if you like movies, comic books, pop culture, wrestling, RC cars. I don't care. We're going to try to bring shows to the network where you'll find stuff you like. Okay, the whole
Mhm.
thing is it's for all the things we love. It's the Madness Comic Network. That's where it began. Okay, we have movie review shows, we have gamer shows, we have RPG games that we play live on the network. And it's like it's there's no barrier as long as it's stuff that we love. You want to bring a show to the madness? Yeah, if we could get to the point where we had 24/7 programming, that'd be awesome.
It almost seems like it already.
We're not there. We got some shows we it seems like it because like Sundays and Wednesdays we're out here all day, right? We got shows that run all day on those days. But we got 2, 3 shows pretty much every day, some days more. So it seems like, yeah, they're out there every day because you're getting a notification every day from the Madness Comic Network about Silverline's going live, or the It's Freaking Figures guys are going live, or Brian Christgau. He does 3 shows. He does it the same time slot. He does a horror movie club. Then the next week he'll do a spaghetti western jamboree, and then the next week he'll do the kung fu theater, right? So
Mhm.
he keeps switching back and forth between these 3 shows, and I swear he brings more views to the channel than anybody. He brings more views to the channel than anything I do. All right.
Mhm.
People love the spaghetti westerns. They love the horror movies. They love the old kung fu movies, and they tune in for his show.
Right,
You know,
right.
I want as many shows as we can get. Now we can go to Roku and they can set this up as a view on demand like Netflix, right?
Hmm.
Where we can take all those playlists that we have on YouTube, you know, like Laurie Show, 144 episodes as of today. We can put them all on Roku. You can binge watch them from one to now, from 2 years ago to today, right?
Hmm.
Every show we have, every playlist we can put up there, and we can make a Netflix type view on demand network on Roku. But if we get a whole bunch of programming, we just do a live, a 24-hour actual network. We get to
Okay.
that point where we have enough content to do that. We do that. We're filling time slots, as we go. Always trying to be creative, come up with new shows, stuff that nobody else is doing. That's really key. Okay. If you pop out here with a show that and the concept is different than anything anybody else is doing, you get people's attention. Okay.
Right.
Now the show's still got to be good, but
Hmm.
if the concept is like, wow, I never seen nobody do that, you
Right.
get people's attention. Monday,
Okay.
I was on a show with Nander Box Schaefer, and I'm giving him credit for this because it was a conversation with him that birthed the newest show on the network. He has a character on one of his comic books that works in a local comic book store, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm interviewing Nandor, and it's like, Nandor, I want to interview Rufus. I want to talk to the character in your comic book. Are
Oh,
you in
nice.
his head enough that I can interview him?
Wow.
You come out here behind the avatar of your character and let me interview your character? And he's like, wow. And I've already got people lined up for a show that I haven't even named yet.
Oh, wow. That
You
is
know what I
awesome.
mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
that's a really good idea. That's awesome.
yeah,
You know,
it's like I called Mike Barron this morning. I'm like, Mike, can I interview Badger?
there we go.
So
You
I
know,
will be interviewing Badger live on the network sometime in the future. It's this kind of stuff, man. It's always think of something new to. I want to be different. I want to be, it's you can't say better because you
right,
don't know what the fans are gonna like, what they're not,
right.
right? You don't know, but you want to come up with stuff that's new, that's fun.
Right.
Um,
You know, you mentioned something about the Madness Comic Network and how it's inclusive of more than just comics, and it reminded me of something. I was talking with some geek friends on a new program called Spill the Geek Tea, which is kind of a spin-off of some Doctor Who fans, but we're talking about other stuff aside from Doctor Who. And this weekend we did an episode on the pros and cons of conventions, and somebody mentioned that the San Diego Comic Con that they could probably just drop the word comic from it at this point because
yes,
it's about so much more than comics. So it's the same with Madness Comic Network. It's not just for comic fans. People can find things that interest them along the lines of film, television, and so on.
yeah, everything.
Yep.
It's for all the things we love.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, when we started out, yeah, it was pretty much comics, comic related stuff. That was the name
Right.
of the Facebook group, the Comic Related Madness. That
Right.
was, that's the old school name. We changed it obviously to mirror the network once it became a network. Now all of it's Madness Comic Network everywhere now.
Okay.
Rumble, YouTube, everywhere. Okay,
Okay.
Pill, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. We're everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, now that's interesting that you just gave that list because there's one of them a lot of people probably haven't heard of, and you showed it to me the last time we talked. Pilled, it's
Yes.
PILLED.net. For
Yeah.
people that have never heard of that, check it out. It's pretty interesting. And you said YouTube, Twitch. Yeah, interesting is a
Yeah,
good way of
yeah.
describing it, isn't it?
There is
Um,
I mean, you got the conspiracy theorists and everybody on here. If
and
you
every
want a
and
rabbit
love to
hole,
them too.
yeah, if you want a rabbit hole network, boy,
Right.
there you go,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So you got Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and what were the others you mentioned?
Twitter, um,
Twitter. Yeah, you
Pills,
can stream on
Rumble,
there now.
X. Yeah, I mean, we
Okay.
just I'm freaking everywhere, man. Everywhere
Yeah,
we
no
can,
doubt.
right?
Yeah,
Everywhere we
no doubt.
can.
So, how many shows are there?
Right now, I think we have 25 weeklies, and we also do like special things like launch parties for people's campaigns, for their comic campaigns, countdowns for their comic campaigns. We also have a very special show that I call Special Edition, Madness Special Edition. And that's for, there's always going to be that one guy that none of our shows work for timing wise, right? And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, Pops, I'm sorry, man. It's like Tuesday at 10 is the only time I can be out. Okay, we'll do a special edition for you Tuesday at 10 and we'll cover your stuff, bro. Because that's what we do. This was, look, it was never self serving. Okay. I basically changed everything about my life to start doing CromCon and help my friends in a time of need.
It would seem one would have to.
Well, it was that's
Yeah.
to say there was never no what can I get out of it involved. It was like my friends can't make any money right now.
Mhm.
They're all locked out of their finance, of their way to make money. All of them. I was like, yeah, what can I do to fill some part of that gap a little bit? What can I
Right.
do to help them at least give them a place to sell some books and
Right.
make some money? And that I mean it's everything snowball. Okay, everything I've done, every idea I come up with, it'll snowball down here hill and get bigger, and then we'll plateau again,
Mhm.
and then I'll come up with another idea and we'll snowball downhill again, we'll get a little bigger, and that's what keeps happening. Okay.
Okay.
This week I came up with the idea for two different shows, two different new shows. One's called What's Your Issue, and it will be driven by the guest. He can come out and talk about comic book that he bought, comic book that he's selling, some crazy world issue that he has a rant about. I don't care. The guest will drive the show. So it's called What's Your Issue? and I think that one's going to air on Wednesdays at noon. And then, of course, the one I was just talking about, where I get to interview people's characters, we already got people like Pops. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. You know, so I'm digging it. I'm digging the fact that when I come up with ideas and throw it out there, I get feedback. People let me know, yeah, I'm down with that. I want to try that. I want to be part of that. The other show that we created that was totally different than anything we seen before. We did an RPG game with Chris Brown, his Slaughterville game, and we did it live. And we had fun. We played it and created our characters, played the game. We still have a couple more playbooks to go through in that particular world, and we're going to get to that. But we created our characters and we played the game, and a couple of the characters kind of took on life of their own. Uh, we had friends drawing art of them. Before you know it, uh, we're hosting a show in character as the characters that we played in the game. You see what I'm saying?
Really?
Not
Yeah.
Pops.
Okay.
I'm Dante. I'm Dante, dude. Dante's an old stoner surfer dude, man. And he's gonna interview you, kinda. And Laurie, her character, is the ultimate Karen.
Uh-oh.
So you get Karen Needlemeyer and Dante's Inferno interviewing you about your project. And it just off the rail show from the beginning, right? Because Karen don't care. And
Right.
Dante just wants to know where the weed is. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
So he
right?
doesn't care either because he's just a
Right.
stoned Californian surfer.
So you
So-
see what I'm saying? It's like, so we
right.
took the characters that we created and we created a show around them. And people love it. It's called Killer Karen.
hmm Yeah, I've seen it.
It's on the
Y-
playlist. You guys
You
can go
talk about
watch
some laughs. I
it.
love that thing.
I'll tell you what, it's the first time I've done a show. Everything I do is live pretty much.
Right.
That's the first thing that we've done that's edited. And the only reason it's edited is because we crack up laughing so much that you got to cut and paste the next part to the show, right? Because we all bust up laughing. But then we show all those outtakes at the end.
Mhm.
So you can see how much
Right.
fun we were having while we were making it. It's
Right.
crazy. It's not scripted. We don't get together ahead of time and decide what we're gonna do. I'll tell Laurie like, "Hey, I'm gonna ask do this and this," and then everything after the question is all ad lib play.
Right.
We're playing off of what each other says, and now the guests are starting to come prepared, and that makes it even better, right? Because they're excuse me, they've seen the show now. So now they're coming with props and all kinds of stuff, and they're
Right.
making it
Right.
even funnier. Dude, come on.
You know, I don't know how you feel about editing, but for me, editing is hell. And
Oh,
I have had that's
don't
one of the
do
reasons I only like to do like one pre-recorded interview per month because some of the time it can be hell. And I've had a couple of them where they had to be really heavily edited. So do you actually do the editing or do you have people that okay.
don't do it. Look, the
Right.
reason that so many of our shows are live
hmm
is because I don't do editing.
Right. Now I think that's why I'm gonna switch to live
It's
right there
what you just said
eventually.
about how long it takes. Like I do a 1 hour show, right? I'm gonna
Right.
spend 3 hours editing it.
No,
What about the
no, no,
next
no.
show that comes on in 2 hours?
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay, it's like
exactly.
I got
So,
way too many shows to worry about trying to edit everything.
right.
The one I do with Laurie, the Killer Karen, Laurie's a comes from movie production. She
Mhm.
comes from that background. She cut and paste, put it together in no time, right? I'd be out there for days trying to do what she does with that
Right.
30-minute show. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, I'm not that guy. But see, like I said, this new show where I'm going to be interviewing people's characters, that will only be tape delayed if they can't do that time slot. But there still
Okay.
won't be any editing. We're gonna run it through one time live, and then play it like it was live. You
Yep.
know,
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Just, let it go. I did one with a guy one time and his dogs got into a fight and it was so long. I'm not kidding. It was so long that I couldn't find it. And I thought I clipped it out, or my wife I was having to ask my wife, oh, would you have time this weekend to edit a 3 hour interview and just get that cold stare? But as far as interviewing people, that's something that you've been around the block with. And matter of fact, I see right there in your background interdimensional interviews with Pops Van Zant. You've done interviews in quite a bit in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, well, this is the new show. This is kind of one of the things I'm playing with for the new show. It's Madness
Oh,
Comic
okay,
Network News, and we'll be doing interdimensional interviews with
okay,
characters
gotcha,
from
gotcha.
comic books or whatever, right?
Right.
So I'm just playing with what kind of a background, what's it going to look like. This is kind of a test for me right here, you know.
Okay.
But
Okay, now, speaking of a test, let's get to the Roku thing. You've explained the spark, where it got started, where it is today. After that, I'm going to ask you about your numbers and what, and then some technical aspects. But as far as Roku, when you and I talked a couple of weeks ago, when we were getting to set this up, uh, uh, back before, just so many things, 59 emails, man. I even had to have surgery in between the last time we talked. But hey, I don't have cancer. That is a wonderful thing to find out. Um, the so many things happened, but the thing that's just been sticking in my mind about Roku is that it's something that I had never heard of before, that a person can get their program on Roku. And I have seen some friends that have started out small and grown to some really huge numbers, particularly on YouTube.
mhm.
And I've ran that idea across them a couple of times. I'm like, hey, your show is so big on YouTube. Have you ever heard a bit about putting it on Roku? And you, sir, are the only one that I've ever talked to that seems to know anything about that. So,
Mhm.
how in the world would somebody, let's say they only have one show, okay? What if I started doing live interviews myself for my channel, and I wanted to put them on Roku? How in the world do you do that? I mean, is there an application process? Do you just
Yeah,
go old school, pick up the phone, call Roku, and say, "Hey, I've got a channel"? I mean, how does that work?
there's actually, you go to the website and you basically research on how you do it. But see, for me it was easier because I have friends that do stuff. um
Hmm.
I don't know if you know Hart Fisher.
I
Hart
don't.
Fisher is a creator. He's the guy that did the Jeffrey Dahmer books way back in the day. He was on Oprah and Sally Jesse and got like blacklisted because he did comic books about Jeffrey Dahmer. The
Really?
victims of Jeffrey Dahmer, the families of the victims tried to sue him and all kind of crazy shit, and he got
Wow.
blacklisted, right?
Mhm.
Uh, that guy didn't stop. He was the creator of Bill the Bull. He had other comic book stuff that he was doing. Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus, I think, was one of them. All kinds of crazy stuff, right?
I can see
But
that causing a little bit of controversy right
yeah,
there.
especially back then, right? We're talking
Mhm.
about the 90s,
Okay.
like, okay, so it was kind of big. It's like he got kicked off of Sally Jesse, I think, and banned for life or something from that show. But
Sally Jesse Raphael, I totally forgot about that, and he got banned. Wow. Good
um,
job.
but about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so, he started a Roku channel called the American Horrors Channel.
Hmm.
And it's a horror movie channel, right? And it's one after another. They just play one movie after another, horror movies, old B stuff, all kinds of cool horror movies. Okay. Well, the guy who built his Roku channel is also a GM in one of the video game or one of the RPGs that we play in the network, and he's also a comic book creator of and owner or half owner of Atrocity Press. Okay. So through all meeting all these people in comics and stuff, I meet people. I meet a guy who has a Roku channel. I meet the guy who built his Roku channel, who wrote the code for it. I'm like, hey, yo, Max, you want to do that for us?
Right.
You
Okay.
see what I'm saying? It's
It's
like,
networking.
yeah, it's not like
Yes.
I went looking for it. It found me,
Okay. It fell
and
into
the
place like
ideas
it's meant
just
to be.
flow. The more
Yeah.
people I meet and the more people I talk to, the more ideas that I come up with, like with talking to Nander the other day. You know, I want to interview your character. Oh shit, that'd be a great show. I mean, light bulbs and boom, that'd
Yeah.
be a great show. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is my
And
life. This is how
right. You got my wheels turning. Now I'm
this.
thinking about some authors that I like and thinking, why not ask them, hey, can I interview your character inside your book? Now, I've asked authors before, do you write yourself into your book? And are you actually one of the characters? And gotten some mixed answers on that, but
The
that is very interesting. So it's
question I posed was, are you in your character's in your character's head enough that Pops can interview it?
right,
Can you
right.
be your character for a half hour while I talk to it?
Very
I
interesting.
don't want to talk to you. I
Very
want to talk to your
interesting.
character.
Right.
See, like if I could talk to Peter Parker, he'd be, man, Gwen must have been heartbreaking, bro. You know, it's like, how did you come back from that? I know I read the comics, bro, but how did you come back from that? I want to hear
Right.
from the character, right? Maybe get something out of the writer that you didn't get in the comic book.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was just thinking. Get some finality for some unclosed ends. That very,
Just
very interesting because there's a lot of commentary out there in fandom about how this character was never ended or what happened to them.
Mhm.
So very interesting. When
Yeah,
is
the
this
light
going to
bulb went
start?
off, dude, and it was just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
snowball started rolling downhill right away. I go out and I make a post on social media. I got 4 or 5 people down right away. I call my buddy Mike. You want to do it? Mike's like, "Oh hell yeah, pops, I'm down." You know, it's like it.
Okay.
This is how this it. And again, we're at that point where we're about to snowball downhill again and get bigger.
Okay.
You
Now,
know, we're right on the tipping point again. That's what comes.
right.
You know,
Okay. So, when can we check out interdimensional interviews with Pops Van Zant on the Madness Comic Network? When Madness Comic Network news? When will that be
I
on?
I
I want to
think
see
the
it.
first one is going to be on the 4th at noon.
The 4th. Okay, so
I'm
we're
trying to
talking
get Nandor. I
November
want
4th.
him because it was his character that sparked the idea. I want him to be the first show if possible, but if not, it will be we will be talking to the mayor of Slaughterville
Okay, from the comic.
from the comic RPG game novel.
Right.
Slaughterville's huge.
World.
It's
Huh.
everything. It's a tabletop game. It's a RPG. It's graphic novels. It's novels. It's everything. Okay, so there's a mayor of this town, and the mayor is probably the most knowledgeable person of the town of Slaughterville. So what better person to interview?
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Saying I'm
Yeah.
going to look at you. I'm not going to like. I don't really want to interview people that I know everything about their stuff because then it doesn't. I'm not going to ask questions that would lead them to giving us unknown answers.
It's a
It's
good
better
point.
to not know too much about it.
Yep.
Okay, like Manchild is on book 3. I read book 1. I liked the character of Rufus, and the other day getting the idea to interview him, that was awesome.
Mhm.
But I'm not completely up on the lore, so I get to ask questions that I'm not sure what the answer is going to be. I don't want to know the answers ahead of time. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I
So
absolutely totally get it. I've interviewed some authors before where I found out some things about them that I did not know.
yeah.
And surprise, surprise, when you're interviewing somebody to learn something. And I at first thought maybe I'm not going in prepared enough to interview this person. Then all of a sudden find out like, wait a second, you were on that television program? So,
You know
um,
what I used to do? What I do is I bring a co-host.
mhm,
Okay, the co-host is a knowledgeable comic book person that has the right questions and all that, and I'm the guy that's going to ask the question that catches them by surprise. You know, what's your favorite album cover art? This is the kind of stuff I'm going to ask him something that they probably haven't been asked before. Come on, how
right.
many people have asked Chuck Dixon about Bane? He's got to be tired of talking about Bane. But hey, Chuck, how would you like to be Bane for a minute and let me interview him?
There you go. You know,
Suddenly
I
go, oh hell, that
yeah.
sounds like fun. You know what I mean?
Right. You know,
That's
that's a very powerful way of doing an interview when there's two interviewers. I've seen that done before where there are two interviewers with two completely different perspectives. And I have seen you doing that now that you mention it, and I didn't pick up on that and until you just mentioned that.
that
Um,
that was the point of having, like, Rich Parada was my co-host for a couple years on Monday Madness. He was a comic pro. Okay, he worked for Marvel, worked for DC. He knew the industry. Okay, so he could ask questions there, or you know, um, answer back stuff that they said, that stuff that makes sense. I'm over here. I'm just a fan. I don't know any of that industry
yeah,
shit,
yeah,
right? But when I get an industry person on the show, I want to be able to get into deep what they do as well as what I want to talk about, you know. So
right,
I've always tried to have Doc. I had Doc after Rich, but I've always tried to have somebody that was knowledgeable, more knowledgeable of the actual industry than I was.
right. Okay,
I've never done comics. I'm just a fan that has, um, I don't know, a little bit of this kind of background.
hmm,
Right? I did
right,
radio back in the '90s a little
right.
bit, and I learned how to talk to a microphone.
Okay,
You know
okay,
what I mean? Because that you're
right.
in a booth by yourself talking to a microphone
Yeah,
in
yeah,
radio. There's no chat. There's people call on the phone and request stuff, and you actually talk to people, and you
yep,
get people they call back, and you get to know some of them, and you got
yes,
before you know
yep,
it, you got fans that are friends of yours. It's the same thing here, just a different way of making it happen.
right,
You know what
right,
I mean? But I had a little bit of background in talking to a microphone, so it wasn't difficult for me to come out here and do this.
right.
Started
Yeah,
doing it. It was,
okay.
you know, pretty easy. And man, I tell you what, we're approaching 3,000 members of the Facebook group, the Madness Comic Network Facebook group. It is a curated group. Everybody who joins that group is a comic fan or comic professional or comic, writer or they do something about comics. If I go look at your profile and ain't no comics there, you probably clicked the wrong button.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna wait. You're gonna post one time about some trying to scam people out of money because you can get them more views or something, and you're gonna get booted.
Right.
You're gonna get booted. The group is for comic people, comic fans. But now, of course, it's grown. It's now you'll also notice in our Facebook group that you will see shows that are not on our network
Really?
that people drop in the group, and I allow that because
Okay.
I'm trying to bring people to one place. I don't give a shit if you're part of the network or not. You got a show, you want to share it in the Madness Comic Network Facebook group, share it there.
Okay. You just answered my next question. I was going to ask, are you looking for new shows?
Always,
Okay.
always.
How does somebody contact you? Let's say somebody's got a show, they want to be a part of Madness Comic Network. How would they do that?
Wherever you saw me, you can reach me.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I met you. I think that I don't know. Somehow I have your
In
email address, so I don't know where I got it. But would you suggest that they go to Facebook? Now, you mentioned
Facebook or
3,000
Twitter. Facebook or
or
Twitter are
Twitter.
probably the
It's
easiest ways to reach me because I've usually got them tabs open 24/7.
okay on Twitter. So do you have DM open? The direct
Yeah,
messaging on
yeah.
okay. Okay, cool. All right. So everybody knows how to reach you now. Now,
Pops
um,
Van Zant on Facebook.
okay,
Madness.
I'm gonna put those links down below for
Yeah,
people watching this. You can get a hold of Pops yourself personally,
yeah.
using the links that the methods that we just discussed, Facebook and Twitter or X, DM, and the links will be right down here below. So now you can reach him. Okay, you got a show, talk to him.
Yeah.
Now,
And look,
uh,
and at the end of the day, when we get to the goal, okay, the only thing I've offered anybody that's part of our network is when we get to Roku, you will get half the money that's generated by your show, half the ad revenue that's generated by your show will be yours. You will get that. Okay. I don't care how many there ain't no subscribers. There ain't no thresholds. You're monetized on day one. You get half the money that's the ad revenue money that your show generates. Okay. Say Roku plays two ads before the show. The network gets the money for one, for maintenance and upkeep. You get the money for the other. Plain and simple. It's 50. It's just down the middle. There's keep it simple, stupid, right?
Right.
It's just like that. Everybody who brings a show to the network, once we get to Roku, that's where the monetization of the Madness Network begins.
Okay, so it is for profit.
Well, it's for everybody. I'm looking at my friends that have 200 subscribers on YouTube and ain't never going to get monetized anytime soon.
Yeah, it takes a
But if we
while
go
to
to
grow.
Roku, we can give you money today.
Right, right.
You see what I'm saying? For me,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because at the time when the idea, I was only at 500 subscribers or something. You see what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
still wasn't to the point where I could monetize anywhere.
Right.
Okay. Well, if we go to Roku, we can all be monetized. Why are we wasting our time on these other platforms? You know? Then it was like, well, obviously I have to make sure I have a product I can take there. Okay.
Right.
So I the funniest part is I'm not building a YouTube network.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm building.
So you,
But
right.
it keeps growing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm building a Roku channel.
Do you
Okay.
do you consider yourself a YouTuber?
No, I hate the
No.
term.
You
Uh,
hate that term? Uh,
an
um,
influencer. I don't want to ever be
you,
considered an
oh,
influencer
come
or
on,
anything.
Pops.
No, I
You'd
believe
be
in
a great influencer,
I
man.
believe in free thought.
All you
But
need is a selfie stick.
I want people to think for themselves, man. I don't want people doing shit because I told them to. That would make me no better than the next guy that does that shit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I don't know if I'm supposed to be cussing or not, but when you
It's
get on
fine.
subjects like that, that's right where my mind goes. It's
Right.
crap. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a I'm a I'm a free speech guy.
Yep. Same here.
Okay. And bring a show to the network. You know, that's the bottom line is the bigger splash we make when we get to Roku, the better it's gonna be for everybody.
Yeah. There you go.
You
Okay.
know,
Now you mentioned 3,000 vetted followers, users, or whatever they're called on Facebook.
on
Um,
Facebook.
and I here's a thing where I did not look at things enough before interviewing you. I am assuming that you are monetized on YouTube, but I actually don't know how many followers you have. Are you monetized?
I am monetized. I have I
Okay.
think 1,148 followers right now. But like I said, we like over doubled everything in the last 5 months.
Wow.
Over doubled the lifetime views of the channel. We've over doubled everything in the last few months. I started, I was really like not gonna do shorts and stuff like that. It was like, what a
Yeah.
pain in the ass, right? It's like, I'm just going to do
Right.
our shows. And then I saw, some people were like, Pops, man, the shorts are bringing in the views, man, and it's
Yeah.
bringing in the
Apparently so.
subscribers. And they're showing me on their channel since they started using shorts, the effect on their channel. I started making shorts,
Hmm.
and I post them on regular intervals every day. Okay. Yeah, it's like tons more views. The subscribers
Really?
started
So
coming in because you make
shorts
the
will
short.
provide growth of subscribers on a YouTube
This
channel?
this is what happens. You make the short and you link the short back to the show that the clip came from.
How do you do that?
It's right there when you're making the short. It asks you, do you want to attach this to a show? Yeah, click. This is the show. Click.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's all
Yeah.
in the studio, right? So when you set up your short, it goes back to the show that it came from. So like this show right here, okay. After
Hmm.
you air this, I'm gonna wait a few days. I'm gonna air it too because
Okay.
I like where this is going, right? I'm
Hmm.
gonna air it too, and then I'm gonna clip some shorts out of it. And over the next few days after that, I will drop these shorts and I will link them back to the show on YouTube. Now, somebody just sees the short, damn, that was kind of interesting. I'm gonna go see what that was about. They go look at the short,
Okay.
get over
And it
to
will
the
build.
network channel, and they see, oh, there's others 5,000 videos. Holy crap,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
busy, right? And then
Excellent.
you
Well,
know,
I have learned something from you today, and so that the viewers know, whenever you do an interview with me on the timescales, I give the interviewee the original recording. They own it also. I think that's the only fair way to do it. Um, a content creator does not consist of just one single person, and it doesn't consist of just the interviewer because there are more than one person involved. And as you can see, Pops is taking his time today So it would seem a little bit unfair if I said, okay, well, I'm just going to put this on my channel because he owns the content also because he's making it with me. So I
Right.
am glad that you mentioned that, Pops, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with clips and making shorts because now I want to go try that. Because I didn't know, and I'm trying to get from 750 subscribers up above 1,000, which wasn't the goal. I didn't do it to be
Right.
monetized, but I just want to see what happens for fun. So and you can create the shorts inside of the YouTube.
No, no, you create them in StreamYard. See, you
Okay.
don't use StreamYard. I use,
No, not yet.
so when I put this show up, it'll come out of my StreamYard studio and it'll go to all my destinations that we talked about earlier, Twitch, Twitter, it'll go all place, right?
Mhm.
After the show, you go into the library in the backstage of StreamYard, and there is a AI generator. If you're tech stupid, there's an AI generator, but
As I am.
but there's also the tools to clip 1 minute clips out of anywhere in the show.
What? Okay, so it's not in the YouTube control panel. It's
It's
in
StreamYard.
StreamYard?
Yes.
Wow, gold.
Okay.
Just learned something wonderful today. I'm planning on getting StreamYard because I'm actually going to do some live shows with panels.
Let
But
me
that right
throw
there,
this at you. Let me throw this at you real quick. This is something else that's really important. Everybody in our network that uses our studio pretty much gets free to highly discounted StreamYard for the year.
okay,
Okay. You might pay for 1 month and get it for the whole year if you're running your show out of our StreamYard. You see what I'm saying?
okay,
Because
yeah.
all of us pitch in, they're upping the price to $1,000 a month or a year.
What? Isn't it already like 400 or something?
Yeah, they're over doubling the price of
Oh,
StreamYard. Okay.
wow. Okay,
But this
okay.
is where this is where being in a network is so beneficial to everybody. Okay. Everybody in our network, they don't have to pay for StreamYard.
Right,
They
right.
use ours. We all, okay, first it's sponsors. Okay. We'll do a sponsor drive right after Christmas. Okay. Because our StreamYard yearly ends in February. So we'll start a sponsor drive at the end of after Christmas. And any sponsors that we get, that money will go towards StreamYard for the year. And then if we all have to pitch in 20 or 30 bucks to cover the rest of it or whatever, we will have StreamYard for the year. So
Okay.
if you come to our network, you don't have to pay $1,000 a year for StreamYard and you get all the bells, whistles, the whole, you see what I'm saying? You get all
Yeah,
that stuff.
exactly. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for explaining that. I've seen you mention that on other shows and I wasn't quite getting it, but that clarifies it right there.
The whole
Um,
thing is, it was like trying to help everybody, man. It was like, I'm trying to help everybody not have to pay a bunch of money. We can all share the same StreamYard thing and share
right.
and save a whole bunch of money between all of us, right? If we get so big we have to buy two, great. That means we're
Mhm.
that damn big. That means we're growing.
Yeah,
That, you see what
exactly.
I'm saying?
Yes.
But even if we didn't have any sponsors, we got 25 shows. Okay, divide 1,000 by 25. We're all gonna pay 40 bucks for a year, some shit like that, right? We're
Mhm.
all going to pay 40 bucks for the year per show
Instead of 40 bucks a month.
instead of 50 or 60 or whatever the hell it is now, right? It's like
Right.
for the year, we each pay for like 40 bucks. That's if we didn't have no sponsors, you see.
Right.
But we got
Yeah.
sponsors. We got people that want their ads played and they want to be part of the network. And that's the other thing. If you have a campaign, you just want us to play your trailer for a month on the shows, throw us 25 bucks. We'll play your trailer all month long. You
Right.
know, I mean, we'll make sure people see your damn trailer, bro.
Oh, I
You
get
know?
it now. Okay, I get it now. That now I'm getting the thing with the trailers that I have seen. So with
Some of those are sponsors. Some of them are people in the network. Like Laurie does books. Like so when she's got a campaign, we make sure we're playing her trailers because she's part of the
right,
network. Brian Christgau, Six Gun Gorilla, we play that trailer. Those people don't pay. They're part of the network. They do a show here. So yeah, we're gonna play their stuff, right?
right,
But
right,
we also have the ones that we play at the beginning of every show. Those are paid sponsors. Those are people that paid for that spot and they're going to get that spot. You know,
okay,
um, it's I'm dude. It was all built to serve the community. I call it the
right,
nation, okay? Because the problem with communities is you get too many of them and then they start bickering with each other. This is a nation, the independent comic nation, and the sooner that everybody gets together, look, you guys don't have a huge conglomerate that's making movies about your stuff. That's the brand itself sells your stuff. You don't have that.
Right.
Need that. We're trying to build something like that. We're trying
Okay.
to build something where people look at it and go, oh, those guys are associated with madness. That shit's cool.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
see? Just
Yes.
like when you
Yeah.
see Marvel, oh, it's Marvel.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
It's
Okay.
branding. It's branding.
Right.
We're trying to build something big enough that people recognize that people involved in this are doing good shit and doing good stuff.
Okay. Okay. Now you mentioned earlier the snowball where things start snowballing, then they plateau, then it snowballs more and plateaus. Are you happy? I mean, with 25 shows, are you happy with the numbers that you're getting? Are you happy with the growth? See, I'm stuck in the YouTube mindset because that's basically what I have time for. I don't get on Twitch. I'm surprised that apparently I'm going to be on Twitch now for the first time when you stream me on there. Thank you, sir. So for me, I'm in the mindset of YouTube, and you got to get to that 1,000 subscribers for what, like $3 a month, maybe or something. But are
It's
you
crazy.
happy with the growth that you're getting? Are there any platforms that are better than the other? Is it what you're expecting, uh, or is it more than what you expected?
It's always look for the kinks in the algorithm. None of them are legit. Even YouTube, okay. Uh, we caught YouTube last year removing views from shows.
Right.
Okay, straight removing views. Like Laurie gets 40, 50 live views every week, right?
Hmm.
And we went back. We went. I'm looking at the playlist because I was trying to find one of her old shows because somebody wanted the link to it. And I go by a show that featured Corissa Grant, who is one of her regular guests that always draws huge people too, right?
Hmm.
And there were 0 views on the show.
Yeah, I know. And I'll tell you what, I looked into that a little bit because I saw you mentioning it, and it reminded me of something that I had seen happen. I had a person that I interviewed where it took several weeks for my wife and I to edit the interview. And finally, I started learning how to do it just online on YouTube. So, over the period of a couple of weeks, I went through watching it a little bit, watching it more, clipping stuff out, watching it more, and it drove the counter up to where it said that over 30 people had watched it, but all of those 30 people were me.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then at the same time, I had sent the link to the person and they said, "Hey, I thought you told me you weren't going to show this to anybody until I approved the edit because I told her you can approve this before I show it to anybody in fairness so that she would be comfortable." And so she's like, "How come people are watching?" And I'm like, "No, it's YouTube can't count. That's all me over the period of a couple of weeks. And when you stop and restart, it will add fake or inaccurate view counts because
We called it
one person should only be
illegitimate.
counted. Okay, so I've seen that happen. And then
But this is
I've
the
also
problem. This is the problem. There were 25 people in the chat.
exactly, and you're not the only one. Exactly. There were 25
See?
people in the chat and it showed zero. And you know what? I've talked to another
Yeah.
person who has like 25,000 subscribers. And he has said, I've seen it happen before. He said, you can look at the show and see that there were 200 people in the chat, and then it said 33 people viewed it. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that is, I don't know what to think of that. It
Well,
would
see,
seem like it should work better.
I gauge it by, okay, first off, we have people that are with the network that stay with the network. Okay,
Mm,
so they're happy, right? They're happy with the views that they're getting with the work I do with the promotion. I mean, I share stuff out everywhere. Every show I share to like 30 different Facebook groups. I make sure I give you the best chance to get seen across the board, right? That's what I do. So we have sponsors that are happy with what's happening that have come back and sponsored us, another year, because they liked what they got the first year. They came back for a second year. None of that happens if you're not doing something right. Okay. But secondly, when I look at all the kinks in all the armors or in all the algorithms on all the different platforms, and I think of all the things that they're probably screwing us out of, we're doing really good.
Okay, there we go.
You
Question
know,
answered. Okay, so you're happy. You're happy with the numbers that you're getting.
I'm never going to be satisfied, but I'm not unhappy with where we're at right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
Okay,
people
cool.
that have been on YouTube for a long time that ain't broke 1,000 yet. You know,
Okay.
a long
Okay.
time. Okay, we
Okay.
I think I got there in 5 years, but that was because of the last 6 months of running 6 shorts a day. That
Right.
that drove people back to the shows. That really did increase. Like everything doubled over the last 6 months. Everything. So
Everything doubled
another
in the
chance.
last 6 months. Okay. Did you do something? Is there a magic red button where somebody can just go pound and hit that red button and double all your numbers in 6 months?
No, it was just because I started playing the shorts, dude. And Chris Brown, that was him. He told me, dude, you got to play some shorts. you know? And I'm like, man, I ain't no editor. I ain't got time for that dumb shit. And then StreamYard put that AI generator in the library where it would generate shorts for you. And I was like, okay, I don't have to edit now.
Okay.
AI will generate it for me, right? So now there's only certain ones. Like if there's something really funny or something really good that was said, I might go try to find it and clip it. But for the most
Okay.
part, I just let the AI generator do it. And then I watch them
Wow.
and make sure they make sense. Because sometimes the
Okay.
AI generator will pick up a sentence in the middle and associate it to the next sentence and they don't really belong
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Does
Uh,
okay, so this is a feature of StreamYard. I did not know about it,
yeah.
and now I'm going to check it out because now you've got me to the point where I have to go check out
I can
StreamYard.
I can tell you exactly. I can tell you exactly. Hold on.
Okay. And let me ask you this. While you're looking at that, I've seen shorts. There's another channel that I watch where they have about 25,000 subscribers and they started doing shorts a lot regularly. And I guess I know why now because it builds the audience. And
Yeah.
they will actually use copyrighted music inside the shorts. They'll show a little bit of a clip. And as you and I both know, YouTube's what is it called? The content ID system picks up on copyrighted music as it should, and therefore that content cannot be monetized. Does by the use of StreamYard in order to make an AI generated short, wow, that's a mouthful. Um, does it actually use copyrighted material that's going to cause the YouTube content ID system to flag that as something that cannot be monetized? There,
Only
I said it.
the only things I've seen on like I have a short that had yeah, what was it? Eminem. And that one gets flagged every time. Doc has an intro where Tanner's intro has
Oh, Eminem, the singer. I thought you were talking about M&M's the candy and
no.
Mars. I'm like, Mars keeps flagging you, but
Okay, so
so the
Eminem
singer
flags
Eminem.
the Eminem gets flagged, Iron Maiden gets flagged, Casey and the Sunshine Band gets flagged. Some of these guys are really up their own butts about their music because we're talking about a 4 second clip.
Right.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
You've
It's like
seen it.
nobody's
Yeah.
making any money off your shit, dumbass. If anything, we're reminding people you own that song.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yes, and that's a complete argument for another day. There's also another band which I'm actually not going to mention their name on here. Something about a hotel. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So, when somebody actually goes through and uses StreamYard to create a clip, am I correct that it does not put copyrighted music into the short? You would
Um,
have to do that
well,
manually, right?
I mean, it whatever was playing at the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you
Okay.
see what I'm saying? It a short is just a clip from a show.
Yeah. Okay. So
So if there's
it's
no
not going to
music, yeah.
integrate separate audio and video and put something together. Okay, cool. All
I
right.
mean, you can do stuff like that. People obviously do make
Yeah.
shorts. We're talking about clipping stuff out of an existing show and just playing it at
Using AI through StreamYard. Yep. Okay. Okay. Pops, this has been really fun, and I'm
I
running
feel like
over.
there's going to be a part two.
Yes, there should be, because now you've given me a whole bunch more questions, and if you're down for it, please, I would like to do a part two. But since we're running over the hour of your time that I asked you for, I only have two more questions. Is it okay if I go
Oh,
ahead and
I'm
get to
good.
them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right, awesome. Um, Okay, I already covered, are you looking for new shows? And here's something that I really personally want to know. I want to know about the technical side, behind the scenes, because when I see someone where I'll watch a show, get involved in the chat, which by the way, your shows are really interactive. And I think that's one positive thing about it. If somebody's watching a show and they're in the chat and not on the show itself, for them to be recognized when they're in the chat and involved in the show really brings
That's,
people into it, and I
that's
know that
building a
you
fandom.
know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's building a fandom. Look, I want
yeah,
when I'm watching somebody's show and I have a comment, I want them to acknowledge the fact that
right.
you're watching,
Yeah. So
Um,
your shows are really good at that for the most part, of bringing people in and involving them like that. But
mhm.
when I see you on a show and stop by, you say hi, and then I may have to go do something and then come back to the computer later. There's another show on, and then boom, there you are again. Okay, that makes me wonder, what is it like? How do you actually physically do you have multiple computers, or do
Oh,
you just use one? Okay.
yeah,
And do you you're not sitting there with a whole bank of computers
not
surrounding you.
yet.
Okay, we got
No,
got
not
that.
yet.
Got that. But what is it what is it like technically? We know you use StreamYard. Okay,
Mhm.
we know you use Facebook where the spark started, but what is it like technically? Is it hard?
It's well, I mean, I'll go into StreamYard and I'll set up show, right? And then StreamYard will let you uh, send it out to other destinations. Okay, so I make the show, and now I'm going to send it to my Facebook. I'm going to send it to my YouTube. I'm
Destinations.
yeah, I'm going to send it to my Twitter. Then I have other places that I can send stuff to, like RJ, his Critical Blast. He's like, put whatever you want on the Twitter pops. Put everything up there that you want, because he's just trying to bring people into his business, which is publishing, fulfillment. He does interviews on the show as well. He's an associate sponsor. He's my boy, right? I promote him, he promotes me. Uh, but it's like everything is interconnected like that. Okay. I do these shows. Um, I'm watching Pilled on the Microsoft browser, and I got that window broke down over here. And
Okay.
I'm watching StreamYard on the Chrome browser, and I got that window up over here. And I'm watching the, Rumble over on this, this over here. And it's like I just separate it on this screen so that I can see the chats in all the different places that we're broadcasting to.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I was
so
chatting with you in two different channels at the same time one time.
yes, I try to keep track of every place that we're broadcasting to so that we don't leave people thinking that we don't care about their comment over there on Rumble.
Right.
We do care about your comment on Rumble. You make one, we're going to acknowledge you there too. It doesn't
Okay.
matter where you're watching. We want you to know that you're welcome, that we appreciate your viewership, and we hope that you like what you're there to see.
Okay.
I mean, we hope,
Rumble.
you
Yeah.
know,
I
and
I forgot about Rumble. And apparently I'm going to be on Rumble now too, since this is your content as well, and you're going to put me on there, aren't you? So,
you just may be on Rumble. Yeah.
all right.
It's
So,
it's all about networking, and as many places as we can put somebody's show, and as many places as we can get you seen, no matter what it is you do. Okay, even if you're just a content creator for a comic book and you're just trying to get people to see, go look at your campaign, we got you in any way that we can, whether it's playing your trailer, having you on shows, doing a show of your own. We'll give you the
right.
platform to do it on.
Right.
You see
Okay.
whatever you
Yeah.
want to do, we're wide open. The bigger
Okay.
we get, the better.
Okay.
You know,
Perfect. Okay.
and
Let's
yes, it
do
is work. It's work. Adding the two new, adding Rumble and Pilled was kind of a pain in the ass because they
mhm.
don't. You can't just click on StreamYard you have to go over to Rumble and recreate the show and then sync it to StreamYard. Then you have to go to Pilled and recreate the show and sync it to StreamYard. So taking on the new ones was more work,
Hmm.
but I don't care. I'm here for the work. Bring me more content. Bring me more stuff to work on.
Okay.
That's
Awesome. All right. Pops, let's do this. Since you brought up a part two, let's do a part two. I'm going to be in Japan for half of December and all of January, and I'm actually going to take a break. I might be on some other panels, but as far as doing interviews, I'm going to take a break. Can we get uh, do a part two like in early 2025, maybe January or
man.
something?
But I'm going to ask you if you would do something for me. Would
Yeah.
you be willing to do a walkabout through a Japanese comic store?
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely do that. But here's the thing:
Like,
I've got to, I want to
bring,
try to get
you know,
a hat camera because I'm actually going to do some
GoPro or
walkabouts.
something? Yeah.
And I think that we're going to Akihabara, which is a suburb of Tokyo, which is basically the geek center of the universe when it
Oh,
comes to manga
yes.
and electronics, robots, anime, and all of that. So I can get some footage for you of a walkthrough of a
Yes.
Japanese comic book store. Absolutely. I was already planning on doing that. So I will share that with you when we
I,
get
I
back.
would love to.
Um,
I would love to put that all over the net, bro. Because
okay, awesome. All right.
too many people in American Western comics don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't. And here's something interesting about that. As you know, my wife is Japanese. Okay. In fact, I think you met her
Yes,
when we
yes.
first met on Zoom.
Mhm.
And what people don't realize is that 99% of manga is in Japanese. And here's why. Japanese people have their own language, okay? They have no obligation to speak English or to
Right,
read English, and nothing rude about it. They shouldn't have to. They have their own language. It goes even beyond that. Some Japanese people feel as if they have what would be a good word to translate from Japanese? An allergy. They kind of an allergy to English. They just,
right,
they don't want to. And being here in America, I can communicate with people in Spanish because a lot of our fellow citizens speak Spanish, but
yep,
I don't really want to because I have my own language. And in Japan, they have their own language, and that's why 99% of manga is in Japanese. If Americans think that they know manga and they have found something that they love, well,
they
imagine
need to know
all of the other 99% of manga that is out there. So,
that
okay.
they
Yeah,
don't
we'll do
know.
that, Pops. Matter of fact, the part
That'd be
two,
great.
I can uh
Yeah, we'll incorporate
maybe I
that
can
into
do an
that.
edited one using the Zoom pre-record thing like now, and maybe we can put the comic walkthrough in there and discuss that. So we have a topic right there. So just let me get the footage if I can. I actually don't know what cities we're going to this time because my wife always schedules these.
Well,
We live in
I just,
Japan.
I'm
Once
just
a month
straight
we
up
live in
anything.
Japan.
I would take anything. Pictures of Fuji, I don't care. Get,
Well, the thing is
you
we're
know,
going to Mount Fuji. We actually live in Japan for 1 month out of the year.
I know.
And
No,
Mount Fuji, we stayed in Fujio Shida last year, and we're gonna stay at the same house. It's at the base of Mount Fuji. My
I want to
brother-in-law and
visit with you.
sister-in-law actually live there at Mount Fuji. But all right, so in order to wrap this up, and I want to
Um,
thank you for your time, and I because time can't be replaced. Once you've spent it, you've spent it, and money can be replaced. You can always get more. But I do appreciate your time and thank you for educating people today. But I want to close on one thing here. I consider you to be successful in what you're doing, and I know that other people have to be curious about who you are and what you're doing. And hopefully, due to your generosity, they will learn something from this. I've learned some great things today. You have just told me some things that's going to help me grow my own YouTube channel, and I can't wait to get started. So thank you. What I'm wondering is I'm going to leave this as broad open-ended. For people that want to do something like what you're doing, or or for somebody that wants to start their own show, become a part of the Madness Comic Network, and then eventually get onto Roku and actually get paid. Okay, what is the best advice that you could give to someone that would be interested in doing one or the other or even both of those things?
well, joining the madness is simple. Okay, I mean, if you want to be part of our journey to Roku, that's simple. You just hit me up and say, "Hey, pops, I got a show I want to bring to the network." I say, "What time do you do that show?" We start messing around with the calendar and we fix you in. It's that simple, no matter what, it's that simple to be part of the network. Okay.
Okay.
And go on this journey with us. As far as going on that journey by yourself, um, this is one of the things that a lot of people have to understand. When I started doing this, I didn't have a 9 to 5. I was grandpa daycare, so I'm home all the time with the kids. I'm here at the computer all the time. I had all day to invest in doing this. I don't know. I mean, it can be done, but it would be hard to go to work all day, come home, and then try to juggle the kind of schedule that we run on YouTube, where it's shows are just willy nilly, 10 a.m., 2 a.m. Who knows, right? That would be hard to run on somebody that has a regular job. But if you can dedicate your time to this, hell yeah, you could build one too. But it is time, man. It's time
Okay.
invest. I'm out here from the time the kids get me up in the morning until sometimes 2, 3 a.m.
Okay.
And the kids get me up pretty damn early. So,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
I've seen it. I've actually gotten up in the middle of the night and realized I didn't turn the computer off, and it's like, what? He's still on there? So, okay, Pops, it was great to talk to you today. And I said January. I misspoke. We're actually not going to be back from Japan until the end of January. So let's do a part two in February, possibly. And let me see what kind of footage I can get. You got to be a little bit careful filming in Japan
yeah, I
because
don't know what you're
the
allowed.
laws are different there. I actually got caught inside of caught. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. I was inside of a store in Tokyo walking through the whole store, just holding my video camera as any dumb American would. And some lady started yelling at me. She was the owner and told me to quit filming because it was showing their prices. And I never really thought of that. So, and in Akihabara, it actually happened there too. I was walking through Akihabara, the electronics district, and just filming all of these tables of electronics and stuff. And they told me to stop. And I think that if you're in Japan and you are not Japanese, you are a guest in the country, and if they tell you to stop, I think it's best to
Stop.
just stop. So I don't I don't know if it's legal or not, and I'm not going to question it, but I'll try to get some footage of some comic books stores in Japan because I actually want people to see, especially how much
And this
manga.
is what you do. You go to the owner and you explain, I want to
Yeah,
show Americans what this is really about,
okay. That you're right.
you
That is the
know?
best way to do it. And I can have my wife talk to them in Japanese and ask them, can we film this because we want to put it on YouTube, and then ask them for a business card and put their contact information on the
Yes.
video. There we
Yes.
go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so wrapping
How
up.
we
Uh,
That's how we do all that, people. That's how we handle sponsorships. That's how we do it all. We just talk and shit happens.
yep,
It's
do it
that
the right
simple.
way. Yeah,
This
okay,
ain't no you're not gonna have to deal with the AI when you call me and get sent on this menu to that menu. You're gonna get pops.
okay,
You see what I'm
cool.
saying? You're gonna talk to
Yep.
me, you're gonna get me, we're gonna hash out a deal. It's gonna be that quick, that simple. You know,
Okay. All right, let's close on once again. How can somebody contact you? I have your email address. I think you texted it to me or something. But can somebody, if somebody uses Facebook, can they contact you on Facebook?
yes, you
Okay,
can
and then
contact me.
if somebody uses, these are the few that I know, Instagram, can they
I don't use
contact you?
Instagram.
Don't use Instagram. Okay, but on Twitter, now called X, they can either tweet you directly or DM you and contact you that way. Okay, perfect. Let's put the Facebook and the Twitter link down below. And is there a main website for Madness Comic Network,
The
like a
the
.com?
webs it is under construction right now.
Okay. Okay.
It will
Really?
be it will be the Meg.tv.
The
Madness
okay. All right.
Entertainment Group.
So
Okay.
now we got our second topic for February. Comic book stores in Japan, and what did you say the domain name is?
The Meg TV.
The Meg TV.
Meg.tv. Yeah.
The Meg.tv.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we
And
got
I'm really
something else to
proud of
talk
that
about.
too. I'm really proud of that too. Those guys they went to work on it right away. Laurie helped us design her page so that we had a template to work on everybody else's pages. Everybody who runs a show in the network will have a drop down page on the website. where you can go
Nice.
their stuff, their shows, their store, everything, right? So
Their
everybody in the network
store.
will all, yeah, if you got a show, if you got a store, we'll put it on the webpage. You
Okay.
know, so
I feel like we're getting some spoilers here.
it's well, I mean, it's we're look, if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
You
Amen.
know, I mean, the whole thing is I was waiting so long for a business partner that I, you know, that could handle that side of it for me so that I could just keep popping out new ideas for shows and keep doing the network and have a business partner that actually has the acumen to make this into something, right?
Hmm.
Because there's not enough time in the day for me to run the network and be the business hat.
Right.
There's just no
Right.
way. There's not enough time, right? I mean, so I run the network. I got a chief financial officer now that runs the business side of it, and it's all that's the snowball. See, that's why everything's starting to happen.
Okay. Right.
Okay, because I finally got that business partner, got the LLC. We're legit. Boom, the snowball starts going downhill again. You know, so
And getting bigger.
jacked. I'm
Yeah.
jacked where
Okay.
we're at. I thank you so much for giving me some time to come out and tell people what's up.
Yes,
And
sir. Thanks for your time.
I'm, I'm kind of
I'm
looking forward to bringing your show to the network. I'm just gonna stick that out there. You know,
Yeah, and I absolutely, I have like about 100 interviews, and it was basically like I told you, I started the channel to teach our kids how to start a YouTube channel when they get older, and it originally started interviewing people in Doctor Who. Uh, and then it spread out above and beyond that. Creative people, writers, musicians,
that's that
actors,
snowball.
yeah, and it started snowballing,
That's
and
that snowball.
it was basically a study in the shared traits of people in arts and performing arts, and to see what the things are that people share that are successful in things. And you might have noticed some of the questions I asked you fit right along in with that, because you are a successful content creator and a network creator, and we have just gotten to learn from you. So I don't know exactly how my show would fit in yours because it's all pre-recorded,
That
and
don't
it's going to be going in a new direction of doing actual live streaming panels of people.
I will tell you, we have a few shows that are pre-recorded. I still monitor the chat. I still
Hmm.
acknowledge people if they pop in the chat and they say something. I'll let them know. Hey, yo, man, this pops this pre-recorded, but thanks for tuning in. You know, Mike Barron doesn't like to do shit live too much. They like to have a clean looking show, so Baron Earl Show doesn't come out live, right?
Right.
Okay, that's cool. I still try to make sure the people that come into the chat and say something are acknowledged.
Okay.
Like I
Cool.
said,
Well,
it's a 24-hour job. I'm monitoring all the shows all the time. That's why you see me in the chat or on, in the backstage or whatever all the time.
okay. Well,
That's
I will have to warn you then. Some of my interviews are 2 or 3 hours long,
that's
so
okay.
it's going to be a big time dedication for you. You got off lucky today with under 90 minutes.
Hey,
So
I put my new co-host on Monday through it too. Is like usually that show's about 90 minutes. We had a third guest, so it ran like 2.5 hours. My co-host, new co-host, first show, his first Monday Madness episode, and we dragged him through it for 2.5 hours. Levi, you did awesome, bro.
all right. Hey, all right, Pops. Thanks for a fun afternoon. And we'll get this out here. I will email you the link to where you have the file also.
Yeah,
It's your co-created content, as I do with everyone that I do interviews with. I think that's the only fair way, is to share what you've created together and
when
promote
did you plan
together.
on airing this? When do you plan on?
I think tonight, if I
Okay,
have
I
time.
will air it Sunday night then on the
Okay,
net.
yeah, I think it's no editing required from what I can see. So I'm just going to end it out, wait for it to finish doing whatever it does, upload it to YouTube. I'll probably just put it on there tonight. So thank you very much for your time. This has been really educational, and I'm
Thanks
glad
to
that,
everybody who watches,
yeah,
because without you guys watching, we're just like talking to each other.
right. Yeah. For anybody that hung in here this long, thank you. Oh, and like and subscribe. Okay.
There you go.
Everybody, check out the links for Pops Van Zant right down below, and you can contact him if you want to be a part of the Madness Comic Network. Okay, Pops, thanks so much, man.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Yep.
You
Cheers from California.
You don't want cheers from Michigan?
No. Okay, I'm still recording. Good,
I ain't scared of what I say, bro.
All right. Good night.
You have a good night, man. I will see you
Okay.
soon. Make sure you
All right.
let me know though when you get to Japan if they'll let you do that. Hit me up, man. We'll set it. We could even set
I